Hello guys, welcome to a Trading Parrot. Let's do a quick update on Solana. Despite the fact that we have had a retracement into the golden pocket weekly on Solana, we have had at the same time an all-time high in traded volume on CME. We look into three news: liquidation levels, levels that we need to defend and break if we want continuation into the upside. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. If you say you are part of the Parrot Army, make sure that you're hitting the like on every video, commenting down below. Do not get into fights with the weak minds. Let them eat some grass. It's all good. The weekend is here. Right. We have a big correction on Solana, right? So we moved down almost 70% from the highs of $300 into $95. This move in here, we consider it an initial proof that we can do more than a dead cat bounce. And that's why I have placed in here two different Fibonacci retracement. One from the top of a recent high to measure how deep are we going into this micro retracement on the weekly. And so far, we are defending that golden pocket. What we need to do now is defend this golden pocket, bounce from the lows of $130 into the $200 on the next extension. We can do it in different multiple swings. It doesn't need to be in a single impulsive one. But once we get into the $200, then we are talking. Why? Because at that point, we reach the Fibonacci retracement golden pocket measure from the lows into the highs, all-time highs. That means that the likelihood that the move up is a dead cat bounce reduces significantly relative to if we cannot manage to cross $180. I believe the area around the $130 is a value area, despite the fact that if you place an anchor VWAP from the lows in here, it shows you that we just lost support. And if you look at the RSI, that is confirmed. Momentum also lost support not just once, but twice. First, from the ascending breakout slope that you can see in there, and second, from this long time horizontal support located at 47 RSI. Right now, we are testing it as a resistance, which also coincides with what the anchor VWAP is saying. We are below that, so relative to these lows, we are taking a bullet and it's holding us at around $145. Let's break that level that we can consider between 145 and 150. If you want a band, and then we can say that we are also confirming that that golden pocket in here, it is doing its job. When we look from the distance at the RSI weekly, I get tempted to think that if we reclaim this, we can do a rally into the next resistance of around 56 RSI. That is the global resistance right there. And in terms of price, that can get us into $190. I don't get that bother that cannot take us straight away beyond $200, which will be magnificent, but it's very close to the golden pocket, number one. Number two, if we can get there, we put a high relative to the 187. That is even better. Of course, the higher, the better. We do need to confirm this as a pivot. That gives us a pivot that is a higher low at the same time relative to this one. Something that we couldn't have in here, for example, we ended up putting a lower low in the momentum. And what a deeper lower low that is. So ideally, this one should be respected with the 42 RSI on the weekly. What doesn't really look that good for Solana, and I suspect this is caused by the expectation of retail of an incoming approval on the ETFs. We'll talk about that when we get into the news. It is the extreme accumulation of longs that we see in this area. And if we overlap that with the price, for example, in here we have tons of longs and they got all squashed on the way down. Here we have tons of longs and they continue to get squashed around 80% additional. Look at this. From here to this low is 81 down. Okay, don't get confused that that is just a 10% down because you are already almost at the bottom of the bear market. But when there is tons of longs and they are retail, they get squeezed like crazy. During this area in here where we have highs of longs versus shorts of also around 70 is around the all-time high, and they got squashed again. These recent highs of 64, 65, that is touching the percentile on the top was the recent high of 184. And where are we? Well, we are about to get again with that overcrowded amount of longs. I do not like that for me. You do what you have to do. The confirmation that there is a lot of retails, in this case, is coming from the social dominance. I'm not saying panic sell your position that you may or may not have in the green at this time, but I will definitely be considering to protect my long using some sort of risk management. Think about this. From this place, they squashed the longs 80%, and at that time Solana was priced at $46. Right now, we are priced at 142, so risk is on the street. Of course, with high risk, there is high reward potential as well. If it gets approved and there is a no sell the news event, then all retail can win. Very likely, yeah? Okay, let's observe this pattern in here. It's got multiple angles, so try to stay sharp in this area. We have a head and shoulders that has a technical target of $100. I already say that I don't believe we can get there. We have already taken the most significant liquidity coming from the longs, but there are a little bit of leftover on the table, particularly if we enable all the different leverage sizes. The one that stands out is the one located at 121 that spans all the way to 116. There is a decent accumulation slightly below $100, but as I say, I don't necessarily think that we can get there unless general markets have a massive black swan event. We are also within this channel that we have been respecting. I'm talking about the parallel descending channel with the yellow lines, and we just hit precisely that level that we were placing in here that I call the compromise of the breakdown, because I say I don't think we're gonna get into $100 thanks to the head and shoulders, that we are gonna probably visit the bottom of the parallel channel, and that's what we did. And if we were to do it once again and we meet for one more time with the bottom of that channel, that can meet with these two levels depending on timing. We're talking 1st of July, and that is what I scratch my head and think I'm actually expecting some positiveness for the altcoins around July. So what could bring the price into 121 if all the altcoins are going up? Well, it could be potentially a sell the news event. But since we are already so low on Solana, I cannot think of another reason. If we include all the leverage sizes, this turns into red in all this range. It's the highest that we see in all the screen. Of course, if we bring in $190, then it turns into yellow, implying that definitely this is bigger. For the bull case, what we need to do really is very simple. We need to break out on the daily time frame out of this parallel channel. We are, after all, in here in a small bull flag, so let's calculate how high we can get if the bull flag plays out. Let's place it like this. That can get us into $160, meeting with the order block of the sell-off that we recently had on the 16th of June. If you look at CryptoQuant, just trying to smell, I scan different indicators at the same time in case there is something smelling obviously burnt or not, but we don't see anything. Everything looks in the neutral or green, as you can see in here. And when it comes to news, we got two bullish news. The first one, Invesco files for QSOL Spot Solana ETF. This is from the 25th of June, but I haven't covered Solana in a while. I think my most recent video is 3 days ago, where we were talking about an overcrowded alert. We got plenty of US Spot Solana filings that are putting another tier 1 issuer behind the narrative. Bloomberg odds of approval sit near 95% at the moment, pretty high, feeding fresh buy-side flows and a 4% intraday pop in Solana. And CME SOL futures volume explodes to a record 175 million contracts. This is from yesterday. All-time high volume and rising open interest signal deeper institutional engagement. CME's own dashboard shows the spike and open interest above 146 million. We can actually have a look in the CME Group website. I think that was around the 23rd of June. Pretty impressive amount of volume, as you can see. And on the bearish side, we have a 4 out of 10, slightly bearish. Solana Foundation disables confidential transfer program after CK El Gamal bug. No funds were lost at least, but the post reminds traders of execution risks. Solana dipped 1% before recovering as the incident was contained. That's kind of an oof situation. Really frustrating, but Solana is not the only network that has these issues. Of course, hardcore fans are gonna say Solana is crap, and some others are gonna say Solana is the best out of there. Let's do a quick wrap up. I will say that on the weekly, we are sitting at critical support. This 130 definitely is extremely important to defend, not just because of this retracement is within the golden pocket, which is quite convenient to be there for a bounce back up, but also because we want to defend this range in here, and we want to defend as well the narrative that this move into $100 was just a liquidity hand. The way to defend that is to defend this range and to exit from the top of the range, and eventually defending the breakout as well. But that doesn't mean that we're not gonna look into what is the risk. If we were to lose those levels, we have good candidates sitting between 120 and 116. Although I don't want to enter if I continue to see that overcrowded space with retail talking about the potential ETF incoming all over the place in here, and with the longs versus shorts sitting almost at all-time highs. To see that upside, we need to bend the rules and enter into a new all-time highs of longs for Solana, which is not my style of trading. I usually bet on things that are low-hanging fruits and not bet towards events that really need to go out of their comfort zone. But anyways, if you want to bet on that, here is the bull flag. Here is the target of $160. Manage your risk, and there is no financial advice in here, just my opinion. If you want to trade risk-free, then use my $500 position airdrop. There's still 3 days. Notice that Solana is included into one of the coins that you can trade thanks to that position airdrop. Find the Bybit link in the description and then click register to claim, and voila, you're in. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.